This is for the leaders, the visionaries, the hope bringers, kindness instigators. This is your place to get loved, poured into, activated, and inspired. Well, welcome back to the Evelyn Fusen Show. Today is actually my 36th birthday. And so I hosted my normal Friday, because it is Friday, October 10th, 2025, as I record this. I hosted my Fireside Friday like I do every Friday morning, but I wanted to give a little bonus. I put together a playlist this week of songs that I felt like kind of grew up with me. And it was fun to do 36 songs for my life. Now, not each one represents a specific year, but I wanted to share the playlist because I love music. I love music, especially lyrics and a great build. If you know anything about me, I am a sucker for a build. In any song, I love it. I love it. I love it. It started even when I was little. And so I just wanted to briefly, but walk along this journey and go through some of these tracks from this list. And then I will share at the end just some thoughts that I had too that I really want to pass along from my life into yours as truths that feel important or things that I've learned thus far in my life that I just want to speak over you and also to be remembered for. So, the first track on This Is 36, which can be found on Spotify, and I'll link below, is Part of Your World from Disney's The Little Mermaid. When I was little, I used to sing this all the time. I would have to look back at the year that this was released because if I remember correctly, I think I was singing this at age like 2 or 3. I would have to ask my mom, but I used to sing this song all of the time. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? I could sing you the whole song, and of course, anytime I hear it, it lights me up. But of course, a red-headed mermaid really struck resonance with this little red-headed mermaid over here. So she was a huge part of my childhood and growing up. Next, we have Colors of the Wind, which came from Pocahontas. This girl, deeply influenced by Disney for sure, and especially as a small child, loved to sing, loved to dance. I remember too, for this specific song when I was younger, 6, 7, I used to also choreograph numbers to do with um the music. And so sometimes with a buddy, which is amazing now because if we try to do something like it, I really struggle with learning choreography. So I really need a freestyle. It's ultimately what it comes down to. I don't really have the patience anymore to stick with learning some choreography. Now, maybe that will change. Future Evelyn may have different plans. Maybe she'll be part of some kind of musical production that requires her to do such a thing. But maybe she won't. We don't know yet. We're not sure. We are not sure. But of course, I still love, with Part of Your World, that's more of like an internal struggle. She's reaching through her identity with Colors in the Wind or Of the Wind. I always loved it as a child because it felt so much more inclusive. It felt honoring. And ultimately, too, I think that's what's interesting is I feel like in the last couple years, I've also become more interested in learning about more indigenous wisdom, especially the book Braiding Sweetgrass and the way that remembering some of those truths about that from that indigenous wisdom that we are all part of a greater whole. Whether we're a rock, tree, or creature, everything has life, has meaning, is part of that. And I love that song still. The next on the docket, My Heart Will Go On from Titanic, Celine Dion. Now, I wasn't allowed to watch this movie when it came out originally because it was rated PG-13, so it was probably 6 or 7 when it came out. But man, I feel like Celine Dion is one of the first women I learned who had pipes, who I used to sing and belt it out with. And let me tell you, I turned my playlist on the other night and I was doing the same thing in the shower, and I might have done it in my car already too. Won't be the last time. Definitely not the first. But My Heart Will Go On, and love the lyrics. A lot of these songs too, I was thinking about, a lot of them have to do with love. I have always dreamt of a great love, and I'm so, so grateful to have the love that I have in my life, not only romantically, but in friends and community and the world that we're creating together, and the people that I know and the people that I have yet to meet. Next, track 4. It's all coming back to me now. I put another Celine Dion because, again, I used to just belt this out in my room with Celine and sing with all of my might. Track 5, All for Love. It is Rod Stewart, Bryan Adams, and Sting. There may be a fourth. Um, and the reason I even knew that the song existed is because it came from the trailer, much like Titanic. I guess I never finished that thought. My Heart Will Go On was used in that movie's trailer. But for me, the All for Love was in the trailer of Disney's The Three Musketeers, which I still love to this day. I love a good period movie, but I love what the Musketeers stood for. All for one and one for all. And so I still love that song. If I ever have some kind of wedding or recognition of my union with Serge, I will probably play that song. It still just means so much to me. And again, love the lyrics. It's about honor and being loved together. What's not to like? Coming in at track number 6, At the Beginning, which on Spotify, you're not going to be able to have the original from Donna Lewis, but also from a movie, which was Anastasia. And it's played at the end credits, but it's a love song. It's about being together, starting as long as I'm with you. We're weaving it together. At the beginning, we're always going to be moving forward together. Track number 7. No list would be complete for me without one song, at least from Britney Spears, which was a huge, huge musical influence on me when I was younger. Baby One More Time, because it's iconic. It's the song for me that put her on my radar. And of course was blasting at the top of the charts when I was a little one. Track number 8. I love that it's also track 8. If you know me, 8 and 11 are really important numbers to me. They always have been. 8 started out as my favorite. And so it is kind of cool that coming in at track 8 is If You Wanted to Be Good Girl, Get Yourself a Bad Boy, which comes from Backstreet Boys and their self-titled album, Backstreet Boys. And as a little girl, I love that song. It was my favorite song on the album. They have some great hits, but I had to put this one on the list because it is iconic. Coming in at number 9, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, also from a movie trailer, or not trailer, but end credits, which was, I guess it's Aerosmith. I've got the list right here, like I could say I don't know. I don't want to miss a thing. Um, I remember this movie too. I need to ask my aunt, but I don't think I saw Armageddon in full at first. I have this memory of coming into the theater where she was watching it and like watching the end. And spoiler alert, there's going to be a spoiler. So if you haven't seen the movie, please don't listen to this part. Um, like give it a couple seconds. Um, when he sacrifices his life, well, I could probably keep it general. It's okay. When he sacrifices his life, if you know, you know, I just lost it. I lost it because it was love. I saw that part. And then, not soon after that, the credits would come and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing would play. I loved it. Love song. It felt uh just like it's reaching. It's reaching for more. It's reaching through, reaching around. Track number 10, Iris from the Goo Goo Dolls. That one is always one too. I started, so again, I'm kind of going in, I'm trying to go in chronological order of when they really had resonance for me. So I was still probably in middle school-ish when I really started getting more into the 90s music, even though I grew up, well, I guess I was born in 89, so my childhood was in the 90s. But as I started kind of to come more into my own growth and development as a little person, as a human, as a young one, um, getting into the 90s music felt also nostalgic, but listening to the words for the first time. And I remember Iris. So the lyrics are, I don't want the world to see me because I don't think that they would understand. When everything is made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And again, it's another ballad. It's another, at least for me, it felt like I always have wanted to feel known and to be known. And part of my work over the last couple of years is recognizing that knowing ourselves is one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves. And spending really time and space to do that in our life and pursuit is so worth our time. Coming in at track number 11, we have Yellow by Coldplay. Do I need to say more about that? Who doesn't like Yellow? If you don't like it, we're probably not friends. I'm just kidding. Serge is not a huge Coldplay fan, but for me, I started discovering Coldplay in my early teenage years and kind of getting into their music. But Yellow was always one. That and Fix You were kind of at the top of my list as far as songs that really influenced me or meant a lot to me. And even now, I have different passwords that may be related to that song. Maybe I shouldn't say that here, but I think it'll be okay. Coming in at track number 12 is Avril Lavigne's I'm With You, because why wouldn't it be? I remember discovering Avril, I'm pretty sure it's sixth or seventh grade. And it was before I really even, she may have had one song on the charts at that time, which is probably Skater Boy. But from her album, I'm With You, still to this day, listening to it brings back all of the feels. Coming in at track number 13, we have Imaginary by Evanescence. Love Evanescence, still love Evanescence. I got really into a phase, probably seventh, eighth grade, when I went a little less poppy and a little more, um, I mean, dark isn't the right word, but it's heavier. It does feel heavier, grittier, which makes sense. You know, we're having all those feels as we come into puberty. And so Linkin Park was a huge influence for me at that time, POD, but they didn't quite make the list. But this one did, because Evanescence was a huge gift to me in that season. Still is sometimes. Um, and this is something interesting too. I used to, at this time too, I was thinking about this a little earlier, is that when I was younger, I used to go into Barnes and Noble and go into the music section, and they would have, because this is really before the internet really took off, you could go in and sample albums. Like you go in, they have the headphones, you put them on, and I used to take a list or like click around and listen to the different tracks and decide what CDs I was going to buy. That is really one of the things too that I used to spend most of my money on was music and movies. I used to love to also go to Blockbuster and buy the used DVDs. You get like the bulk, you could get three used, meaning they had rented them out for 25 bucks. And for me at that time, I was like, this is a great deal. Um, so I digress a little bit, but just fun things to know about me and my life. Coming in at track number 14, No Greater Love by Stephen Curtis Chapman. Now, Stephen Curtis Chapman is a Christian artist, and he probably influenced more of my life as a little person. I remember some of his songs, especially from a specific album. Like I can see it. He's got like this like a sweater on his face or something, and it's green. And I used to listen to that all that. That Point of Grace was a huge band for me when I was little. But again, those tracks didn't feel as iconic. This one, though, is a track from an album. I went to go see him in concert, and this was my favorite song from that album, and is the one that has probably just meant the most to me in my life. But it's talking about, it's called No Greater Love, but it really is trying to get into the thick of what love looks like and laying down our lives for one another. Um, and right now, I feel a little differently as far as like how I feel related to religious meanings of that song and the way that I believe that that song was written in intention. So it was a little bit cringy actually for me to include, but it feels important because it still speaks to chapters and seasons in my life that were very formative, and there are still things that come through from that that I still very much feel are true for me. Coming in at track number 15, we have The Great Escape from Boys Like Girls. Had to include this song because when I think about when I was first driving, I used to also make all kinds of mix CDs and or mixes, LimeWire, if you know, you know, where you basically pirate the music and make your own mixes. Um, and I still have some of those, but this song specifically, I can see me in my first car, silver Honda, 1997. When it came to me, I had 280,000 miles on it. And all my only criteria for my car was that it had to have automatic windows, four doors, and it needed a nice stereo. I was like, I don't care if it's old. Like these are the things because I knew that I wanted to be driving people around, that I'd probably be the driver, that I needed to be able to listen to songs. And I am a huge, huge lover of windows down, and air coming through. My dad used to tease that I must have been a dog in another life because I always loved to have the wind blowing in my face the way that you see dogs so happy, like panting out the window. And he's not wrong. But that Great Escape song really brings me back into when I was first driving, experiencing those highs of being able to have that kind of momentum. And so I loved it. Coming in at track 16, Only One by Yellow Card. I mean, again, you're gonna hear some themes too between the two of those. That's just you hear it. It's like in the very millennial, like throw it away. It's like a kind of like punk poppy anthem. It's there for me. Coming in at 17, You and Me by Lifehouse. I feel like I also started to come into some uh, different kinds of depth as I was also growing up in high school. Like just things really starting to land for me around how I was living my life. And I really found, I mean, looking at tracks before this, there were meaningful songs, but I just see a shift to um, in intention around what I was choosing to listen to or tune into. And so Lifehouse's You and Me, of course, another love song. Track number 18 brings us to the phrase "Trust Me," and I absolutely loved the fray and discovering that album. Katie Pelletier, Katie Mullins now, I mention her by name, but she is the one who introduced me to the fray and I think gave me my very first CD by them growing up. And so I should actually tell her about this playlist and that she was mentioned, but introduced me to the fray, and I still love them to this day. Track number 19, Fever, Michael Bublé. I went into the zone in my early high school years too, where I went through a phase with the big band and swing, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Nat King Cole, Jimmy Durant. I loved the big band. Like I used to have this playlist too. I remember very vividly of like swimming in the pool in the summer and Dean Martin specifically, Ain't That a Kick in the Head. He almost made the list, but Michael had to stand for the rest because out of all of them, I've devoured Michael's CDs and albums and they just feel really iconic. I've also seen him in concert. Highly recommend going to see him if you ever get the chance. Coming in at track 20, we have Paris, Ooh La La by Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. I discovered Grace Potter and the Nocturnals by taking one of those Barnes& and Noble trips at one point. I think there had been a song that had been on One Tree Hill, and the only reason I can even place that is because I used to find tracks through shows, but especially One Tree Hill had a good track record for me of introducing me to new artists. And so I think I heard her sing on one song. I don't remember which one it was, but led me to check her out at the Barnes& and Noble, sample some albums and get some of my first ones from her. And fun fact, and I also did see her in concert too. Great performer. Her middle name is also Evelyn. So she's just good people, of course. Coming in at track 21, we have Beautiful, Beautiful by Francesca Battistelli. The lyrics are beautiful, beautiful, but it's another really powerful song. The lyrics like sunlight, um, casting through midnight, making my life so beautiful, beautiful. Mercy reaching to save me, making my life so beautiful, beautiful. Francesca is also a Christian artist. Um, Another great song by her that almost made the cut, but I really had to feel into it was Worth It. And Worth It is also worth your time if you want to check her out. Track number 22, we have The Civil Wars, Poison and Wine. Now, they're great songs by the Civil Wars that I could have put on this list, but Poison and Wine put them on the map for me. I think I saw them in concert two or three different times. Their chemistry, even though they weren't together because they're a duet, or duet, they're a duo. They were both married to different people. I don't know if that's still the case. Their chemistry on stage, I would, if I was in the mix, I'd be like, okay, mm-mm, that kind of flame. But beautiful, beautiful music. And I absolutely love the Civil War still. Hadn't listened to them in a while, so it was like bopping around there. Coming in at track 23, Never Be Ready by Matt Carney. Love Matt Carney, love his lyrics. And each of his albums sound really different. I've seen him a couple times in concert as well. Track number 24, More Like Love, Ben Rector. I love Ben Rector. I've seen him in concert as well. Great lyrics, always soulful. Um, and it was difficult for me picking for both of these artists what track I was going to include. But ultimately I felt in, I listened to some of them and tried to like even feel like when does my spirit just like expand the most? And that's how I made my choice for which track to include of theirs. Track number 25 is Sarah Bareilles, She Used to Be Mine, which came from, she actually wrote songs for a play that went on Broadway. I just can't remember what it's called right now. Come on. It's like one word. Waitress? Waitress, I think. I think it's called Waitress. And actually, Katie and I, one of my best friends, and soul sister, we actually saw that she got to see it on Broadway, Lucky Duck. She did go to New York and saw it there. But they did a movie where you could go and see it in theaters. And so we went to go see that a couple years ago when it was there. But She Used to Be Mine. Sarah Bareilles, again, lyrically, love her. Her artistry is amazing. I've always connected deeply with her lyrics and with her soul. So she had to be on the list. And again, I would start discovering her in college. Yeah, we've made it to college, guys. Um, well, late teen. early college is wrapped up in there. Track number 26, I Lived by One Republic. Love One Republic. Again, lyrics, poppy, punchy. But I Lived is definitely an anthem and something that I would love to say about my life. And Serge took me to see them a couple years ago for my birthday, which was a huge treat. Need to Breathe opened for them for that concert. It was great. It was in Cincinnati, the Bend. Ah, I'm forgetting what the venue is, but it's like it's outside Riverbend? Riverbend. That's what it is. I'm like Bend. River. We'll get there. Okay. Coming in at track number 27. Would You Go With Me by Josh Turner. That's the other thing too. It struck me. I had to have some representation of country music enter the chat around college because I really hadn't given country music the time of day. I'd always said that I didn't like country music. And to be fair, I had a friend at the time tell me too that you don't really like country music, you like pop country, which still may be very true. But Josh Turner is indicative of a turn for me. And you'll notice that too. Like, I mean, if you haven't, I've gone through different lyrical phases, different seasons with different kinds of music, which have been so fun to discover and explore in those seasons and mark those times in my life. Um, Number 28, Make You Feel My Love by Adele. Now, it is a cover. I didn't pick one of her originals because Make You Feel My Love was something that struck such resonance for me that it had to be the track that came on this playlist. It is the one still to this day that I sing like her. So many covers have been made of that song, but again, another love song, and I love love, so it all makes sense. Coming in at track number 29, Come Alive, Dry Bones by Lauren Daigle. Lauren Daigle absolutely had to make this list. She was huge for me in college, especially. And I did see her as well. Also with Katie. I wish she'd be like, Katie, where did we see her? I think it was at the Fair and Expo Center or the Yum Center. I think it's Fair and Expo because it was huge. It was a big arena. It was a great concert. She's so genuine. I think that that's always what sticks out to me about her is she feels very genuine, down to earth, and accessible. Even for just like her grounded wisdom that you just feel from her. Coming in at track 30, we have Oceans, Where My Feet May Fail, Hillsong United. I remember when this album came out, listening to the whole thing, and this was before it was released as a single. When I came across this song, I think I cried. I had a very emotive experience, and it just became such an anthem for me. It still is something that brings me comfort when I'm feeling like I could just use some recalibration and balance. Coming in at track 31, we have Sanctuary, which came from Nashville, which is a show, but they wrote it for the show. And I've always said too that I want that played at my funeral. So if you're listening and you have surpassed my life and you could pass that along to someone who's helping orchestrate it, um, they'll know. But Sanctuary is a way that I found such resonance when I heard it, discovered it, and want it to be an emblem of how people feel in my presence and what my life might feel like as a whole. Coming in at 32, My Body, Young the Giant. I love Young the Giant. I could listen to them in the background like for hours. And so they had to make the list. There's nothing specific really about the lyrics. It's really about the sound for me and for them. I just really, really connect. Coming in at track 33, we have Ingrid Andress, Ladylike, which for all women who are listening, I encourage you to listen to. I love it. It is such a bold and embodied kind of way to exist in the world. At least it's an invitation into one, I believe. And so when I heard it for the first time, I just loved it. I still love it every time I hear it. Coming in at track number 34 is Higher Love by Whitney Houston and Kygo. He did a take on this song and a mix that I feel like when I first heard it a couple years ago, and again, we're tracking, so this would have been probably around 34, 35, and it's track number 34. When I would discover this song, and it feels still like an anthem and a way too that I want to be living my life and live out my life. Track number 35, we have Be Yourself by Wilder Woods. This is Wilder Woods is a spin-off. What is his name? He's the lead singer of Need to Breathe, and he created this, so it's his own working entity apart from the band. But I love the lyrics. Again, it really strikes resonance with how I want to be living, and an invitation into that when people are with me, they could be themselves, that we would drop the pretenses, that we would drop any kind of need to be anything else, that the fullness of who we are, complete with the bumps and the hiccups and the things that didn't go quite right, are all part of becoming who we are and part of that story. And finally, coming in at track 36 is Coldplay, All My Love. It's one of their newer releases in the last year or two. And again, lyrically, it just captures so much for me and says so many things. That and it's also a feeling. I also, if you haven't seen it, they did and partnered with Dick Van Dyke to create the music video, and I highly recommend checking that out. But that concludes our track set list. I am just going to read to you some truths. There's 7 that I got to write out that I also promised that I would like to speak out to you over today. That again, that I hope will honor you on your journey, but also enrich and challenge maybe some thoughts and maybe change something for you, but also to be an invitation to do something more. Just truths that I want to lend on this day of my birth with all this wisdom that I've gleaned. Um, I say that kind of tongue in cheek if you can't hear it in my voice or see it in my face. Number 1, there will always be voices, rules, and ideas that say you can't. Only one needs to be believed, your own. Choose to speak possibility, to dare to believe that you can. You are the only one who needs to speak and say that. You are the only one who has to believe it. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. It doesn't matter what your ancestors did. Believe you. Believe you. Believe that voice. That's asking you to rise, to expand, to step into something bigger than that fear, than those old ways of being. Number 2, you don't need a map. Maps take you to known places. Where you're headed has to be forged as you know it. So don't be discouraged if you feel lost. You're finding your way just as we all are. And that's been such a gift for me also, to just realize like not one of us has all of the answers. We're living out our answers each and every day. Number 3, if you don't like your life, you can change it. Just like you change your clothes, you change your attitude, you tune into something differently. If you don't like it, you can change it. And it can start in something really small, changing the paint color on your walls, changing your hair color. Those are physical, but internal. Maybe it's really trying to shift into new ways of being and believing a possibility. Maybe you were clinging to the idea of a voice that said or told you you couldn't from your past. Let's release that. Let's choose to believe or try to shift to a different kind of way of being. Whose voice do we want to tune into? How do we want to feel? Tune into that. Life isn't meant to be solved, it's meant to be experienced. That goes back into that we don't need answers to live. We don't need the answers. We're going to live into them. Love can be found in grand gestures, but more often than not, I see her in the smallest moments. The smile of a stranger, the hug we needed on a really hard day, the soft brush of fur as our animals remind us we're not alone. Number 6, resisting being broken keeps us rigid. Living broken means we can flow with. No fear of shattering, just allowing life to flow with and through. And number 7, if you doubt yourself, borrow my belief in you. Borrow my belief in you. I believe that you are here at this time, in this space, in this place to carry out the things that are on your heart. I believe that you are intentionally and wonderfully invited into the life that you're living inside of now. I believe that we belong to one another and that the things that you carry on your heart that you want to see implemented into the world, that you have this nagging knowing or this belief that something must be different, that we must love bigger and in higher capacity. Let your heart feel the stretch, because we were made for those stretch marks on our heart. We were made for them. We were made to step into wider possibility, to challenge the status quo, to really live into an expanded way of being means that we have to believe ourselves that it's possible and also continue to take action, even if it's small, to instigate that we believe that and that we're going to continue forging that path. Again, that's how paths are made. We keep walking them. So keep walking and dancing to the beat of your own drum. We need your rhythm in the world. I'm so grateful to be part of your life and part of your journey and connected to you in this way. So, this is 36. I hope it's been fun. See you next time.